Triplefour.
Let's talk about it. Okay, Triplefour podcast.
Yeah, he said this dude makes a meatwad fucking thing for no reason, and then he says Jim Norton.
Bob Dylan I find personally obnoxious, but the Beatles destroyed culture.
Oh my god.
I got Elon Musk to smoke weed in my Tesla the other day. That's not even a big fucking deal.
Things are crazy right now. You don't know shit, do you? We really didn't.
You know, you can't always get what you want, but you'll find sometimes that if you try,
You just might get it.
oh, you get it!
Welcome to the Triplefour podcast. You're listening to it, the number 2 podcast in the world behind the John Rogan Experience. If you've ever heard it, you need to unsubscribe from that and Venmo whoever you need to get subscribed to the Triplefour podcast because it's the number 2 podcast in the world. Today, we have good friends with us. We have, well, first of all, my co-host,
Nick Wandersea.
you've really taken to doing that little melody with your name.
Would you prefer a different melody?
Yeah, give me a different.
Nick Wandersea.
That was good. That was kind of boy band.
That was getting there. There's a little kind of a jingle thing going on. Like, you need more of an anthem than a jingle.
Yeah, like give me like a chorus. Like there's a whole song about you. This is the chorus. Go.
Nick Wandersea.
It's like a Mariah Carey like performance.
Beautiful.
I like it. I'll accept it.
All right.
And we
Glad we got that out of the way.
great friends of the podcast with us today. We have Steve Camp.
Steve Camp, that is me. I'm here with my lovely fiance, Molly Theros.
And that's me. Also here.
We're sitting in my kitchen right now.
Sitting in the kitchen.
It's a good time.
Indeed.
Sitting on the dock of the bay.
Yeah.
Watching the time. That's the end of the lyric. And we were just reminiscing about some memories from an unspecified Italian restaurant that we were all employed at one time or another. And Nick reminded me of a particular story earlier that I'd like to share with the listeners. So, you may be familiar with a particular Italian dish called cannelloni. There's also manicotti. They're very similar. Manicotti filled with cheese and the cannelloni filled with meat. And at one point we decided, we were told that we were going to start serving these dishes in a specific, fancier way that they called French serving.
French the cannellonis.
Yes. You remember this era?
I do. Oh, yeah. I've Frenched many a cannelloni in my day. And manicotti.
And
Right, he did.
it was a painful experience for the most part because it was so extra and unnecessary. The idea is you're supposed to do it in front of the table, but half the time we just didn't do it in front of them, so it kind of didn't matter. But there was one particular experience that stuck out to me when I brought the tray to the table, and to French serve, the cannellonis are in this sort of like boat sort of plate. It's shaped like a boat. And we were to take 2 spoons and excavate the cannellonis one by one onto a clean plate. So I pulled up to a table, set the tray down, and started doing this. And there's a red sauce and a white sauce on the cannelloni. And as I'm putting them onto this plate, the sauce gets mixed up. It always happens. And this woman notices what I'm doing right next to her table, and she goes, "Wait, what is that?" I said, "Oh, it's the cannelloni for you. It's going to be, I'm just French serving it, putting it on the plate for you." And then she's like, "I don't like that." And I thought this was a joke because honestly, like the amount of times I'm like giving somebody food and they're like, "Oh, that's not for me," or some bullshit like that. She goes, "I don't like that." And I just kind of chuckled to myself.
She was just so deadpan with the delivery that you just went with it.
Yeah. I was like,
no one really does, man. Here you go.
Exactly. It was like, there's no way that this is not a joke because it's so unbelievably serious. So I just kind of chuckled like, yeah. And I kept going. And she was like, no, seriously. Stop doing that. And I was like frozen. I didn't know how to continue. Like, she's like, you're mixing all the sauces up and it looks like crap. Can I see the manager? And then, from there it goes to like getting these, I don't remember who was there or whatever, but the manager comes over. He's like, yeah, this is how we're doing it. Charlie's instructed us to French serve this dish. She's like, well, I don't like it. And then we, had to get a whole new cannelloni dish out to her. But that's just, a
So
fond
how did they
memory.
wind up doing it? Did they do it? Did
They just put it in the boat and we gave it to her in the boat.
in the boat? Okay, because that's what we do now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why it was so extra.
Yeah.
So
The
what
sauce at the bottom still got mixed up.
So like they put the sauce on top while it's in the boat. They put like a bunch of red and then they do like a stripe of the white sauce.
Right.
So
they bake it with a little bit of red sauce, add more red sauce, and just
And then top with
little
that.
stripe of white across
Yeah.
the middle. But then, like he said, you're scooping it all out. By the time it's all onto the plate, it just looks
It's
like
a
a
blush sauce.
fucking
It's a
mess of
rosé.
whatever. It's a
Yeah.
rosé, exactly. So
Those are in right now.
I have
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a slightly shorter story. I won't bore you guys talking about cannelloni all night. But what I used to do was, I used to fill just like a dick bag, taking the spoons and scooping out the sauce until it was out of the boat. So what I would do is I'd take the cannelloni, put it on the plate, and then I'm using the towel. I don't want to burn myself. The little boat plate is hot as hell, so I pick it up with the towel to just pour the sauce, pour all the extra on the plate real quick, throw it down on the tray. Well, one time, I've done this 50 times by now, and I'm doing that. I'm emptying this boat out, and it slips out of my thumb.
I was gonna say that
And I
sounds.
dropped the entire thing on top of the plate of cannelloni. And I really quickly just recovered it and put the plate on. I still served it and was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Yeah.
Any good ones from you, Nick? Cannelloni stories. Welcome to the
I've got a
Cannelloni
lot.
cast.
Not cannelloni, but served in the same boat. We had a newer food runner recently that came in. Not the brightest. And he's had prior restaurant experience, but he's just kind of a ghetto kid. He's real kind of almost like an Eminem wannabe type.
Nice.
And
We all want to be Eminem.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, clearly. He actually kind of looks like Eminem. But
Well, don't tell him that.
Wait. Maybe it was Eminem.
I think it was Eminem.
Holy
Eminem
shit.
fucked up this lasagna, dude. He got to the table, he said, "Mom, spaghetti," and then he went to set it down, but he didn't use a towel, and he grabbed it, and he got over the table and realized that it was hot and just dropped it on the table in front of the person. I don't remember what the resolution was, but it was the customer was not happy.
And there's just like hot lava tomato sauce just spewing up in this person's face.
Yeah, and then he just ran away.
Damn.
Nice.
Kind of like the classic.
See, and that's why, the whole debacle in these restaurants is the dynamic of, I'm working with these servers that are getting paid way more than I am. Well, that's also the thing is if you want to run away from the fucking table, you can. And the server has to go back and talk to them.
Yeah.
And pretend like it's not fucking ruined. Like, what do you do with that? How do you recover?
There is one more cannelloni story, French serve story. Our manager, named Mike, no last names here, but named our manager Mike. Probably the second or third night that we were doing French serving the cannellonis, I brought one out. It was on the tray. It was not in front of the table, but I was struggling to do this because it was not like this passing thing you had to do. It was kind of a whole performance. And so he comes up to me and he's like, "Look, you don't know how to do this. Let me show you." So he starts and he picks up one of the cannellonis with two of the spoons, and one end of the cannelloni slips off one of the spoons and just flops onto the plate and goes and skids across it and makes this huge sauce mess. And I just laughed because he just told me that I don't know how to do this. And so I'm just laughing, and then he just gave me a stern look and just walked away. just a good example of the absurdity of the French serve.
So while you guys are messing with this little cannelloni French serve, I worked at a Greek restaurant where primarily we served our food French style.
Yeah.
So all of the appetizers, a party of 6 came in, ordered 3 appetizers. I would bring it all out and plate their 6.
Yeah.
She would
Plates.
portion,
I would portion
break
out.
these appetizers up per plate for
And
every
being a
single
Greek
table.
place, we use those boats a lot. Those boats are called saganaki plates.
Uh-huh.
And it's actually called a saganaki. I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's a style of dish used to flame this cheese. And
Yeah.
the dish is called saganaki too. But we do those as well. And, you get the cheese all hot and melty, and then you pour some lemon on it. And then you put some brandy on it. And you light a flame to it. You say, "Opa, it's a big thing." Everyone gets excited. It's a fire, And I've totally seen somebody get caught on fire before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's probably my story with the whole French serve.
Self-immolation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You
When
you
your-
just
when
you
your
just gotta
coworkers
take
caught on
one.
fire?
Yeah, it wasn't me that did it. No, a table, a
A
customer.
customer caught on fire.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a little worse than getting a little sauce.
And then
spilt
and
on
then
it.
you take their wine real quick and give. No, I'm just.
And everyone
Can I-
says, "Opa."
Opa! It's Greek. It's crazy.
Let's
Yeah.
take shots, Luzo now.
That's funny.
Good stuff.
How was that resolved? Was it just like a quick put the napkin
Yep.
and
Yep,
yeah.
that's how you resolve it, and then you just.
And then you act like nothing happened.
Let's get some shots and dessert over here real quick.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, it's funny. Whenever Molly and I met, she had been working there for a couple of years, and I had been at Gito's for a couple of years, and that's how we met. Is through a bunch of mutual friends, a bunch of kids I went to high school were all there working with her, and we all started hanging out. And RJ and TiVo and some of these other guys all knew the same people, so it was like this weird parallel. Like we'd all get off, the restaurant at night and go out, and we'd have these stories about these 2 different restaurants. We didn't know about each other's shit, but all the stories were like the same.
Guaranteed.
There's just the same stereotypes and things that get you about no matter where you'd be working.
I had a
I like the mutton chops, Nick.
Yeah, thank you.
Were you waiting for me to compliment? them?
No, it's just kind of
They're
The way
itchy.
you're pulling
That's
them.
a-
He would not break eye
like an
contact
impulsive-
while he just pulls the mutton chops.
kind of an impulsive thing.
Over
It
and
feels
over.
good. It feels good.
No, it happens to me too. Like I'll just be doing this. Like if every when we did a video edition of the podcast, when we did the hot wings,
Yeah.
like I noticed that don't go back and watch it, but there's the whole time I'm just pulling on my beard because it just itches, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do because I'll try and condition it in the when I'm showering in the morning, and that's supposed to make your hair softer and not itch, but it doesn't work.
See, with beards, it's different than the hair in your head. You have to use wax and oil and shit like that.
Like beard oil?
Rather than rather than trying to do whatever in the shower, once you dry it off, then you lather some shit up in there that you just leave in there. And that's the way to keep it nice.
Do you
and
use
cozy.
beard oil?
I usually don't,
I like
but I
that.
just got some
Beard
for
oil.
I just got some for Christmas, and I figured I would try it out.
Yeah.
That's
And,
really interesting. Have you ever done DMT?
Dude, fuck yeah, man.
Wait, we just became the #1 podcast in the world.
Dude, so speaking of that, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm really excited to be on this podcast with you guys, and I have not listened through a whole podcast of yours to this day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's a lack of exposure, or maybe I'm just not in the know.
Well, now
It's
stream-
I
probably-
hear that it's second in the world, so it can't be a lack of exposure.
It's really catching
But
on.
It can't be.
but I do agree that it's 100 times better than John Rogan's podcast. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
unsubscribe from that. I actually heard that he snorts human growth hormones and does not call his mom on her birthday. So
Wow.
Yeah.
See, the difference between him and us is we always
all
call our moms. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Not to bring restaurants back or anything, but I had a fun moment the other night where I'm serving now at a different restaurant, seafood restaurant. And
which one? Or
Red
you can't say.
Can't say it.
can't say.
Undisclosed.
It's undisclosed, but it's at the Star Casino, and so the other night, I I serve on Fridays and Saturdays, but every other Sunday I run food and bus tables. And there was one table in the entire restaurant that was not bussed. Like somebody had just gotten up, and I'm walking over to go take care of it, and a woman had sat herself at that table. Like, again, the only table in the entire restaurant that had stuff on it, and she's counting $100 bills.
Nice.
So I guess she just won big in the casino. And she must be feeling saucy, like, I can do whatever I want. I'll sit down.
Give me 3 lobster tails.
Yeah, exactly. So I walk over, and she goes, hey, can I get a menu? I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. And so I walk over, I get a menu, and I bring it back to her, and she's like, oh, thanks. So are you going to be my server? No. I'm holding a bus tray. Like, she's like, I'm like, no, that's going to be, Angie over there. And she's like, okay, well, can I get somebody to clean this off? And points at all the stuff on the table. And I'm thinking, my brain is broken. It's like being twisted up. How you sat at a dirty table, and now you're complaining that it's dirty. And so she didn't order a bunch of lobster tails. She got one appetizer and then left. So the world is fucked up.
Yeah, people have no self-awareness. People just walk around this world their entire lives not knowing what the fuck they're doing, ever.
Yeah.
Like, at all. Like, what is going on in their head when you decide to do that?
I have no idea what I'm doing.
What are you, dude?
Have
You're done
tell me.
If you do DMT one time, you'll get it. But,
I have done DMT. It was only one time. One and done is what they say. That's all it takes.
Yeah?
Yeah, you blast off and you never come down.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you bought 100 stocks in Tesla.
I did not. No, that's where I fucked up.
Shit.
That's where I fucked up.
We were at the Gramophone last night.
Okay.
Just chilling, eating our sandwiches after the show. It's kind of a post-show.
It's a late night spot.
Yeah, late night spot. I saw Gage there. But,
Dude, so John Q works at a spot down there. Another late night kitchen.
I've been told that. I keep forgetting the name of it, but...
In the Grove?
Yeah, somewhere around there. We were sitting at our table eating our sandwiches last night. Buddy drops his mac and cheese on the floor. Some guy comes by, just pulls out a huge bag of acid. Like a really big bag of acid.
Like just blotter paper?
He puts a scale on it. He goes, that's my drug scale. He introduced himself. He gave us all hugs. Like, we don't know this guy. He just introduces us. He's like, you guys seem like nice people. Gives everyone a hug, introduces himself, and then he's like, that's my drug scale. He throws it on the table, and then he just pulls out, I'm serious, there was like the whole bottom of the bag was just lined with tabs. This dude had
Holy
so much
shit.
acid. He's like, you guys want to buy some acid? We're just like, what the fuck? Like, in the middle of it, like, not being discreet at all, just in public.
Let me
like,
think about it. Let me eat my sandwich first. Like,
That's fucking crazy, dude. Like, hi, my name's Bob. Oh, by the way, I have enough acid to go to prison for 20 years. Hopefully you guys are cool, because you look like you're cool.
You guys want to start a band called Acid Bag?
There's already a band called Acid Bath.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. They have an album that's like got a John Wayne Gacy clown on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are they going for acid bath, like hydrochloric acid, like melt your face off?
I think that's the idea.
Or maybe it's
Like
a
a
double,
Walter
like a
White
double
acid
entendre.
bath?
Like you'll get burned to a crisp, but you can also fry your face off, or do both, I guess.
Both at the same time.
Both at the same time.
Yeah.
Man,
These are
imagine an acid bath while you're tripping acid.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't
a way
think
to-
I'd want it any other way.
That's a good way
Yeah.
to go.
And this is why this is the number 2 podcast in the world. We have great ideas.
So when do we take breaks to mention our sponsors?
Right now. And,
Yeah.
that's because our sponsor today is Gibson
Gibson
Gypsum.
Gibson.
Gibson Guitars, manufacturers of the Les Paul and others. So go head on down to your local guitar center and spend money. They work on commission, and they want it. They want your money, and
You should give it to them.
you should give it to them because they're all nice people. I've had bad experiences at Guitar Center.
Really?
Yeah.
I used to spend a lot more time there than I do now. I've been slacking. I used to window shop quite frequently,
Yeah.
and I would, it was fun while I'm there, and then I would never leave satisfied. I'd walk out and be like, God damn it.
Yeah. I wish
Why don't I have
You
those
had
guitars?
Yeah.
Like, I can't spend $3,000 right now, but like I should.
Right.
I know what's waiting in there for me.
Because, like, you can get, like a Squire or an Epiphone or something, the second-rate guitars for a couple $100. But then, like, one day you're like, I want, like, a nice guitar. And then you realize that they all cost thousands of dollars. And you're like...
Right. Well, there's a good mid-range, too. I mean, you can get a decently made Gibson. I mean, they make, like, a Les Paul Studio, they call it.
Yeah.
Which is certainly better than, like, a starter Epiphone, but nothing like, if you got a classic 1970 whatever vintage Les Paul, then you're looking at $5,000-$6,000, sometimes even more. There's a good middle road, but I agree at the same time. It's like if you're gonna spend over $1,000, you might as well get like the cream of the crop.
Yeah,
because it's something you'll keep forever.
Like the years manufactured Les Paul or Stratocaster or whatever your thing is. My first electric guitar was an Epiphone Les Paul Jr., which was one humbucker pickup. Like, it was, and, like, apparently this is, like, a cool guitar now.
Huh.
Like, I think Weezer sometimes plays with that, and Titus Andronicus, I don't know if you ever listen to them, but one of my favorite, like, punk bands, they use the Les Paul Jr. sometimes, too. I think it's just because it has such, like, a rough, like, gritty sound, because it's such a cheap guitar.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that working.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that guitar.
It was $100 when I was 10 years old and got it. So,
yeah, I started out with the classic, the shitty starter kit that every other kid had, which was the $100 knockoff, not a Squire Stratocaster. It was a knockoff Stratocaster that comes with the little 10-watt amp, and it just sounds like dog shit. The thing won't hold a tune for more than 2 minutes of you playing it. But I feel like everyone had that, black knockoff with the white pick guard, little shitty starter amp, and it was like $100 for the whole set. So, which makes sense. I don't blame my mom for buying me that, because I very well could have played it for a month and never touched it again. So,
what was your first drum kit, Nick?
First drum kit. When I was starting out, the first year that I played drums, I did not have a kit.
You'd smack his belly.
Not an actual kit. It was belly solos. It was a little practice pad kit. There were 4 practice pads, and then a little pad for the bass drum.
Yeah.
And just tapping my little heart away. We'd get out of high school.
Tapping your heart on?
I'd get off. My friends would be there, and then I was really good at drums after that. No, we would get out of high school. We'd go back to the house, and I'd be sitting there fucking around with this little practice pad kit. They're like, man, knock it off. That shit's fucking, like, you don't even have a real drum set. And then a year later, I got a drum set, and I was really good at it. But the first drum set was just a little travel Pearl kit.
Okay.
Little tiny. No, they didn't even have heads on the bottom of the. Actually, is that downstairs? Is that here? I think that's here.
Yeah.
I think it is, yeah.
I need to grab that too.
But your friends should be glad that you started on a little practice pad kit, because like by the time you're starting to make actual loud noise, you somewhat knew what you're doing.
Knew what I was doing, and at that point, it's just learning different sound sources and what.
Do you have to talk your parents into it?
Like,
Mom, the
no.
other kids are making fun of me that I don't have.
Not really.
Real
I mean,
drum set.
Yeah, they're the ones that bought me my first. They bought the practice one. These were all Christmas presents. They bought me the practice one that year. Then the next year, I got a Tama Swing Star. Or no. I got the starter kit, the Pearl, which I'm not sure how much that was, but I think I had that for like a year. And then I got my Tama Swing Star, which I had for like 10 years.
So was the Pearl, like, the Pearl set your best Christmas ever. You walked out and you're just like,
Pretty
no
much.
fucking way.
Pretty much until I got the time. Actually, no, that the best Christmas present we ever got was a trip.
Barbie's Playhouse.
Because, like, my favorite Christmas gift ever, I got a Nintendo 64 and a boombox. I was 7. It was the best Christmas of my fucking life.
Yeah.
My best one was a trampoline. Like a full-size
your
trampoline.
parents had money, obviously.
And that was a big deal because that year they sent me on a scavenger hunt. They hid clues all around the house. And I had to follow the trail of clues that led me outside. And the last clue was in a file cabinet on our porch. And I opened the file cabinet and it was like, turn around. And I looked out in the yard and saw the trampoline. I was like, oh my god!
Wait, did you always have a filing cabinet on your porch?
Yes.
Yeah, what the fuck is that about? Let's bring that up again.
You glazed right over that.
What? Doesn't everybody have a filing cabinet on their porch? I
in
saw a guy.
California.
So what were your parents filing out? That's what I want to know. Other than clues.
Really just
it wasn't
had
all clues.
It really just had like there was one cabinet full of like lighter fluid. For,
Wait. It was just liquid lighter fluid, just filled.
For like tiki torches, they threw parties.
for actually, yeah, we had lighter fluid. We had the stuff for tiki torches. We had lighter fluid for bonfires, and then like the next row was some miscellaneous bullshit, and then there was just like a drawer full of shoes, and then a drawer full of spiders.
What the
And the
way?
spiders knew where their drawer was.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, so you had enough tiki torch like events to necessitate an entire filing cabinet with full of lighter fluid?
There was other shit. I don't know. This was when I was a kid. I don't really remember what all was in there, but I do remember when we got the we had a half pipe that we got from our neighbor at a certain point in high school, right around the time I started skating, and I just remember very vividly one of our friends, Brian Hyde, falling off of the half pipe and just smacking his face on the filing cabinet, almost like a cartoon where like his cheek hit and then it just
Froze in place.
took it like a champ. But yeah, that filing cabinet was.
So how
I'm
did
surprised
you?
more people didn't
How
get
do you
hurt on
convince the spiders in the spider drawer to stay out of the shoes in the shoe drawer?
You ask nicely.
oysters?
Huh.
Oysters. So you
Oysters. We give them oysters.
Oh, he forgot the other cabinet, the other part of the cabinet where he
the
keeps the
oyster
oysters.
The oyster cabinet.
Yeah, the oyster drawer.
My first interpretation was that my shoes are filled with oysters, so they're too nasty for spiders.
You just put one of the Baptist shoes in there, and it deterred the spiders away.
There you go.
There you go.
So the oysters would attract the spiders to the one drawer. They're kind of banished to just the one segment of the file cabinet that was on your porch.
Do you have any?
Do you have any oysters?
Do you have any oysters in your
He does
restaurant? Do you have
work in
any
a seafood
spiders in your
restaurant.
restaurant?
No.
No, that's because there's oysters there.
Have you ever? Okay, we went to a surreal place. Just
Have you ever
now.
seen a spider in New Orleans?
Seen a couple rats.
Have you ever seen a spider in New Orleans?
That's the next movie.
That might be the next movie. Have you had an oyster? A raw oyster?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
We've had many of
We like a
plates of
little
oysters.
oysters.
You like them?
We're those kind of
You
people.
hear they make you sexy, right?
That's what I've heard that, and I've been told that by people ordering them in a very uncomfortable way.
Why do oysters make you sexy?
They're an aphrodisiac, apparently.
It's a natural phenomenon.
And it's probably usually like a single, like 42-year-old lady at a bar telling you this while she just like slurps up what looks like a giant loogies.
No, it's more like it's usually like a couple. Sometimes it's like, is this like a prostitute type situation? And sometimes you're like, okay, they're just on a date, but like the guy will be like, give me a half dozen oysters, and then I deliver them,
The lady
and he's
will be
like,
like,
he's like, these are for her, and I'm like, oh, ooh, no, I'm gonna have to take these back.
That line sucks.
Yeah.
But you like them.
Yeah.
I do, yeah. The trick is, so you put a little bit of, they serve them with cocktail sauce, but then they also give you like raw horseradish and lemon
Lemons.
wedges. So the horseradish and the lemon is where it's at. Just a little bit of each per bite. And it's got a little bit of that tang. The horseradish gives it like that little spice, like almost like a wasabi, like that burn in the back of your nose. And it's just I don't know. I don't even know how to describe the flavor of them. It's not like they're loaded with. They're not like bursting with flavor. Like something about it though. It wakes me up. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, we deliver them with the cocktail, the horseradish, the lemons, and then we also do a mignonette, which is like red wine vinegar with like cucumbers and salt and pepper. But
fancy.
Yeah, it's got a French name, mignonette. I've only had them just raw, straight up, and it just kind of tastes to me like you opened your mouth in the ocean. Like you just kind of like. They're not bad. Like some people are like so grossed out, but they're not bad. They're just not something I would like eat a lot of. But I have seen people put down like 60 of them.
You're probably not supposed to eat a lot of them.
Yeah,
I couldn't see that being good for you.
Well,
it's like
they filter the brackish water. Like they are the filter of the sea.
Yeah.
So you don't want to eat a lot of them. Because it's like eating your vacuum cleaner. I don't know. You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
No, that is true. I've seen that video that you're talking about. So there's this video, and it's like it looks like a big ass tank, but somehow they simulate like a stream running through it. And in one of these tanks, it's just water running through and like some like rocks and debris at the bottom. It's like a time lapse comparing that one to the one with all the oysters in it. And this one with all the water running through without the oysters, gets nastier and nastier over time to where it's all brown and green and all sludgy. And then the one with the oysters is just like crystal clear the whole time, like all the way through.
Billy Mays here.
So all that nasty shit, that's what you're eating in the oyster.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah. But wait, there's more.
We made a boat out of glass.
No, that's not Billy Mays though. That's what's his name? Flex Seal guy.
Yeah,
what is
what's
his
Flex
name?
Seal guy's name?
Flex Seal. That's not the ShamWow guy.
No,
that's Vince. I thought it was
everybody knows
Is
Vince.
it Vince?
Didn't Vince like stab a hooker or something like that?
Yeah, he was arrested. I did. Okay, at one point I looked up that guy. Vince. I thought his name was Fitz when he was doing the ShamWow commercial. I was like, "Hey guys, Fitz here or Vince here." It kind of blurred together for me. But anyway, at one time I went to his like Wikipedia page. Apparently, that guy was like trying to get into like the movie producing game for a long time. Like that was his original gambit. Like, so if you've ever heard of this movie, Movie 43.
Oh yeah,
He produced that,
Ooh,
or he was one of the
really?
producers on that.
Yikes!
And then he was like, ShamWow, and then he started doing ShamWow, and then he stabbed somebody and went to jail. And now he's back, I think. He's still trying to make it happen, but...
Making his comeback.
Yeah.
With Movie 44.
He should write a book. Movie 44. I missed the first 42, but...
Movie 43 was interesting.
Yeah. Who was it with the testicle chin?
That was Hugh Jackman. That was the
Yeah,
very
Hugh
first.
Jackman.
That was the very
Is it
first
balls?
skit. It was like I think it's Jennifer Aniston. It's like a blind date, and
Yeah.
he like takes off. I can't remember if it was like cold outside or somehow he had
A
the
scarf
bottom
on or
half of his
something.
face concealed until they sat down and he unveiled his nutsack on his chin.
That's a Men in Black joke.
Yeah, the Balchinians.
The Balchinians. Do you remember that from, I think it was Men in Black 2?
Yeah, because he tries to kick him in the balls, and he goes, "Go for the chin."
And then he like
The
pulls down his thing. He's a
Balchinians.
Balchinian, and then he punches him in the chin. And
Men in Black 2. That was the one with Johnny Knoxville, right?
Yeah.
We like a mini version of him growing on his back.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Speaking about balls on your chin, so what do you call nuts? So what do you call nuts on the wall? Walnuts.
Walnuts.
What do you
Okay.
call nuts on your chest?
Chestnuts.
What do you call nuts on your chin? A dick in your mouth.
God damn it!
Who invited me to this thing?
Holy, wait.
I didn't say chin nuts because I knew the answer was going to be something like that.
Oh.
Chin nuts. Somebody should like grow like a new nut out in the wild and call them chin nuts. And then the joke is ruined.
I think it was.
It's already ruined in the beginning.
Oh, come on, Nick. You know you like that one.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. Good job, babe.
Shut
Did a
up.
real good job.
Speaking of movies, movie 43. Any favorite movies from 2019? This is something we talked about on the last episode.
Ooh, that's a good one. Man, I don't even know if I want to see that many movies this year. We just went and saw The Rise of Skywalker,
Yeah.
which I wasn't expecting much from,
Uh-huh.
just based on the first two of the trilogy.
I feel like it gave.
I wouldn't call it my favorite movie of the year, anywhere close to that,
No,
but
we did a whole episode on that.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some lost potential with that one. I was
Oh,
kinda,
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
kind of bummed
Big
out.
time.
Yeah.
My parents loved it, and they're like pissed off at me for not liking it. They're like, I can't. You're just too cynical. You're too like into your movies or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay.
Dan
good
had-
for them for like enjoying it. Like I would never like be like mad at somebody for liking something, but they were like upset with me.
Dan had like an existential crisis in the movie.
It was like
Did you guys go see it together?
yeah. But if you go back and listen to the episode, we're not going to retread this ground, but
Sure.
but there was a disturbance in the force. There was a guy in the theater who talked the whole time.
Oh no.
And it was like so unreasonable. Like
Was he like talking to the movie like classic?
he was just saying things. Like he would say like, "Oh, they got Chewie." Just shit like that. He just announcing stuff. And
No.
it was a whole fucking saga because
Man.
Nick was sat closer to him, and then at one point in the movie, Nick got out of his seat and moved to a different one, and then it became like he was closer to me, so like I started hearing everything. And then yeah, I mean I didn't like the movie, and I was like really disappointed, and then for it also to be that I was being taken out of it the whole time by this complete asshole in the theater, like it just was this really upsetting, depressing experience overall.
Yeah, that guy is an asshole. He knows what he's doing. You can't. Maybe not. Maybe he's another.
No, I don't
one of
think he
those-
did.
Go back and listen to the episode because we do like 20 minutes.
No,
on
we
this
did like
guy.
half an hour about this because
He must be like the girl that sat down at the one table that wasn't bussed. Just has no
no awareness.
no awareness. Just
No.
walking around with his fucking thumb up his ass.
It's a recurring theme on the podcast that we talk about people being assholes in a movie theater because I actually saw 40-ish movies in theaters this year.
Holy
Yeah.
crap.
And
That's impressive.
it
Get this, he's got 2 more to watch before midnight tomorrow, and he will have watched 600 movies this year.
Yes, this is
Nice.
true. And, you know, when you see movies in theaters that often, you do have more potential to encounter absolute assholes all the time. And so I had so many bad experiences with other people in movie theaters this year.
So there was one time. This wasn't this year, but when it was when The Revenant was in theaters, and so Steve and I we were all set, and we ate some gummies before the show, so we're all like having a good time. And this guy next to me, this old guy, felt so bad for his fucking hearing aid was buzzing the whole time, like that high pitch, like
Yeah.
Oh,
Have you ever heard that? It sounds like
Yeah.
a high pitched version of like an old like dial up. Like it's like
oh
and I was
no.
like, this
And
old
it-
cat can't hear it.
it took
Yeah.
us like half an hour to even figure out what the sound
Steve,
was
am I
that we were
tripping?
hearing.
What? Am I
We thought it was
hearing
like
right
from
now?
the speakers or something. Like a speaker was blown and this or something's just weird with.
And so
the
my
sound.
mind's obviously not on the movie. It's on like, oh my god, this guy really. His family is not telling him. Like, should I tell him? I don't know. And so then finally the movie cut out, like on a whim.
Uh-huh.
The straight up movie theater blanked out. We're all sitting there.
Yeah, they dropped the ball when we were watching The Revenant. It took them like
And then we
15,
got, like,
it was like 15
4 free
minutes.
movie tickets
like
out of it,
lights
so it
on in
didn't
the
even
theater
ruin
and
it.
everything before they like
Huh.
turned this movie back on. They gave everyone like vouchers to come back for a free movie or whatever. So I
So
think,
you didn't see the end, like the rest of the movie?
no,
No.
we did.
Well,
there was
eventually,
just there was
that
just
was
this
a long time
awkward,
ago.
unplanned like intermission before they could get it like back and rolling.
That's
It was the
nuts.
only time I've ever seen that happen.
Yeah.
And your hearing aid was still going?
Yeah. And we were still like buzzing super hard off these gummies, like giggling in the theater. Like, what is going on right now?
Danny
Dan wants to join. Danny wants to
Danny
join
wants to be part of the
podcast.
crowd, and she's not tall enough. So
Danny's the
Tell
dog.
us about your weirdest movie theater experience.
Do you think she would sit in the chair? Probably not.
We now are the number one
Podcast for dogs.
Yeah, we just beat number one podcast for dogs. Danny, welcome.
So this next segment is sponsored by dogs. Dogs. They have 4 legs. Love them. Hate them. Don't hate them.
Don't hate him.
Don't.
Give them treats and shit. They love you unconditionally, even if you're a terrible person.
They're
So.
fucking gross.
The 444 podcast brought to you
I
by dogs. See, the hearing aid thing is so fucked up because it's not like you can just hey dude, shut up, like, because it's not his
Right,
fault.
yeah.
It's like
And you have to be super loud
Yeah.
for him to even hear you.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm trying to be quiet. I have to be like, hey, mister, turn your fucking ear down.
that's like a Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm experience. It's like it's such an ironic thing to happen.
Yeah, like he would be getting kicked out, like banned from the theater for trying to just like address the situation.
Yeah. Whereas I shushed the guy at Star Wars.
Oh, four times.
No,
I think.
2 times.
Two times.
2 times I shushed him. I did it one time, and I don't know if he heard it. And then the second time, I was like, I give up. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And yeah,
You should have been just like super passive aggressive. Oh, we're gonna do that now? We're gonna do that here? Okay.
Well, this is why I told Dan, I'm like, I'm gonna move because I gotta look at the guy, and I don't think that saying anything to him is gonna affect this in any way. He is that guy.
Yeah.
see, but this isn't my first rodeo.
Right.
Obviously.
I've shushed people in movie theaters to good effect. It just did not work for this man who had no fucking idea what was going on. Again, no self-awareness. Yeah.
Somebody I told about this made the point that he was probably with his family for Christmas, and they were just like, this guy is a nightmare anywhere he goes, and they were like, get dad out of here, take dad somewhere.
No, but if
Just as long as it's not, take him to go see Star Wars. Like,
maybe that is likely. The kicker was, like I said, at the end of the movie, the son told his dad to shut up, but it was like the last 2 minutes of the movie, and it was like, you had an entire 2 hours where this guy was talking where you should have said something. Too little, too late, my friend.
Yeah, that's uncalled for.
I told this story to my mom, actually, and she was saying, like, maybe he had Tourette's. And that sent me through a little spiral.
But then
And-
it's like, why do you take your dad with Tourette's to the fucking movies?
Yeah.
Well, because he's a
Especially-
person too. He wants to go to the films.
Oh, no, shut up. You take them to St. Andrew's Plaza. Or like,
St. Andrew's, like, burned down.
I know, but they're gonna rebuild, obviously.
So take him there, pretend like there's a movie showing.
Yeah.
Just leave him in the theater.
It's called the
He can go-
drive-in.
There's an idea. You can't hear him in his car. No, I've never been to a drive-in theater once in my
neither.
life.
Let's go. Who won't be watching the movie?
What is it?
I would
Is
love
this
to go
that
drive-in.
70s show. Have you been to a drive-in?
I have not. I would love
Really?
to go.
I'm
There's
kind of shocked that no one here has been to
I
a
have.
drive-in theater. Oh, you have.
That my first
Molly's the
my
winner.
first movie I ever saw was in a drive-in theater, The Lion King. It was glorious.
Wow,
That's
that's
awesome.
a good first. Good
Yeah,
job.
I was like 7. It was glorious.
and there was a guy like, oh, they got Mufasa, and he was talking the whole time,
Yeah, no.
and his hearing aid was like,
Run, Simba, run! I can kill you.
if you're seeing a bad movie in theaters, sometimes it can be hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Like one of my favorite like movie theater experiences was I saw The Purge, the first Purge movie, and it was like midnight, and it was like a full theater, and that's not a great movie in my opinion. And everybody was like so like into it, but also like not taking it seriously. So like by the end, people were just like yelling and like throwing popcorn and the whole thing, and like it was funny at the time. Like if you remember the movie, like
Was that Ethan Hawke?
Ethan
The
Hawke,
first
yeah.
one?
Yeah.
So if you spoilers for The Purge from a decade ago, Ethan Hawke dies, and at the end there's that homeless guy that came to help their family out. And there's a scene where Ethan Hawke is dead, and the mom is there, and she's like staring down the homeless guy because it's like, "Are you gonna kill me now? Because it's the Purge, and you can do whatever."
Right.
And they're staring each other down, and it's quiet, and then somebody in the theater goes, "We need a daddy," and that fucking killed me. Like,
Dude, that's so good.
that shit's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it's okay.
That is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I would have been right there with you, just dying.
Yeah.
You can't contain it.
No.
same thing with M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit. If you ever saw that, though,
I never did.
They're like demented grandparents. It's like a found footage movie. Not a great film either, but there was
Yeah, that one came out pretty recently, right? Like within the last 5 years or so.
it's like 2016, I think.
Okay.
And that was another one where it was like packed theater, movies nuts by the end. Everybody's like screaming and yelling and having a roller coaster of a time, and like it just felt like, I don't know, it was fun. Even if it was a bad movie, it was fun because you could feel the experience being had. Mm-hmm. And like that's something I seek out, but I also kind of just want to be in a theater alone by myself with nobody else, so that there's no risk of anybody causing problems. It's a dichotomy of sorts.
Sure.
Favorite movies of 2019 though. That was we were at that point.
I'd have
Once
to
Upon a
look-
Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
Endgame.
Endgame was good, yeah.
I forgot. So those are
was
like
Black Panther 2019?
no.
That was
That's a couple
Damn,
years
'cause-
ago.
it was maybe 2017.
Can Django still count? Because it's still one of my faves.
No, I would
Still
I would
rocking
agree.
with
I
Django.
think, well, I think other than Star Wars that we just went to see, I'm pretty sure Endgame and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood are the only. I think there was like the only 3 movies we went and saw this year.
Mm.
So obviously we're slacking compared to your rap sheet.
I know, I'm
we-
off the rails.
Well, we just went and saw like 3 of like the biggest movies to come out. You
Yeah.
know, just staying on the bandwagon. But no, I really did like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Me
I know
too.
it got mixed reviews as far as I feel like a lot of people got their hopes up or expected something that it wasn't.
Well, I think a
for
lot of
Yeah.
people expected like
Tarantino.
a recap of the story, but Tarantino he made his own story. It's
Of
Once
the,
Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's not the of the Charles Manson.
Yeah, of the
Right, of the Sharon Tate murder.
Sharon Tate murder.
Because
Yeah.
that's not what happened.
You're right. See, that was my reaction when, like, we did a podcast episode after I saw it with Josh, the other host. Nick, you never saw Once Upon
I
a
still
Time,
have
did
not
you?
watched it.
So,
Oh well, I don't want to spoil it for you. Did we just?
I
spoil
didn't.
it
I
for
didn't
it?
hear anything. I was in the bathroom.
Good.
don't listen to this episode.
Oh shit!
Don't listen to it.
No, but that was my thing. I was thinking, like, I think a lot of people are actually going to respond negatively to this movie because Tarantino, being this director known for, like, lots of violence and lots of, like, crazy, like, shit going on, popping off. It's a mellow movie.
Yeah, could have used some more whacking.
It was a
I thought
very
it was
mellow
cool,
movie.
though. I mean,
It's like a gangster movie without enough people getting whacked. It's,
Yeah.
It's like a Taxi Driver. A lot of people are like, oh, you know,
Well, the
Taxi
story.
Driver's a good movie. Yeah, okay. What, like one person got whacked and it was a fucking person that deserved it? Like, get out of here.
There was more than one guy that got killed in Taxi Driver. But
In
it's
the
not.
end, but not
It's
the
not supposed.
whole
It's not an
movie.
action movie. It's not. You know. It's supposed to be
Monster
this.
movies are supposed to be.
It's supposed to be this like
little
cerebral
bit of-
thing about this guy like living in his head in his own world, and that's the point. And like it's gonna
Yeah.
be
Maybe he
slow.
could have
when
had
it's
dreams
that-
about whacking people. I don't know.
Taxi Driver was the movie I wrote the most papers about in film school.
Really?
Yeah, I wrote at least 3 papers about
It's
Taxi
got
Driver.
It's got a lot of material you could go off of.
It
for-
does. It's one of my favorite movies, actually.
So you don't agree
I
about
love.
the whack.
I just
Well-
just showed her Taxi Driver like a month ago. Because I love it too.
Well, I think it's like the violence, like, right, it's a Scorsese movie, and in all of his other movies, it's a lot of violence all the time. I think
Specifically whacking.
specifically whackings. Did you see The Irishman? That's
We saw like an hour of it.
oh, okay.
I wake up
we
so
keep getting
early.
distracted.
Okay.
I wake up so early that I go to bed so.
If you
early.
if you like Goodfellas, then Irishman.
No, I
is-
like the
no.
beginning
Yeah.
of it for sure.
Yeah, the first
But let's
hour
not talk
has
about
been
it.
very good.
But Taxi Driver is kind of like the violence is anticipated. You know, like it's his mindset, his like the way that he talks about himself in the world. That like it's more of this atmospheric
filth.
explore. Yeah, the one day a real rain will come and wash the trash off the streets.
Right.
Yeah, like it's this like dark portrait of this guy's mind and him being this warped individual. And one of my favorite classes in college, which was philosophy of film, and we talked about Taxi Driver and how it was so weird for me because I had first seen the movie when I was 17, And I remember thinking, like, I kind of relate to this guy. He's alone and he's lonely and he's got all these feelings and he's sad and whatever. And then, like, when I got a little bit older, I was like, oh, I should definitely not be relating to this guy. He's a sick piece of shit. Like, and it was just, like, an interesting experience to have because, like, I didn't realize that it's so satirical when I was younger. I mean, and when I got older, I was like, yeah, he's got a lot of, like, twisted, fucking fucked up stuff that he's trying to get through, and he's dealing with it in the wrong ways. And I thought that was like that was sort of this an incredible like moment you can only have with a great movie. Like there's this transition of perspective, and it's because it's such an intelligently written film that you can see it so many different ways. I think
certain aspects of the movie certainly like glorify his character and what he's like, you know, what he's doing and what he's behind, like trying to save what's her name, you know, she's the young prostitute, and he's like, you know, pays for her time and then tries to get her the hell out of there because he's like, what the hell are you doing, like this isn't right, this and that. So you can relate to him on some of those cases of, you know, wanting to act out and be that voice of change and like help someone. But
realistically, it's a kind of misogynist like thing of him assuming that she needs help at all.
Sure.
And so like that, and one of the things I wrote about the movie was that it's a revisionist Western movie almost. Like he sees himself as this vigilante hero, this like guy who's gonna save the day and clean up the streets. But it's like, that's so not true. He's just some regular dude who has no real bearing on the world. And like all of these things he plans to do, he's not actually considering how other people feel. Like, it's a fascinating film. I know. What did you think, Nick? Because I know you watched it at some point.
I think you covered anything. I don't really have much to add to that. I think you kind of covered it all.
Boo! Magnificent podcast content.
Yeah!
Woo!
No, I just watched it for the first time this year. I really don't have anything to add.
Needs more whackins, right?
More whackins.
Needs more whackins.
Yeah.
Do you think enough scum was cleaned off the streets?
No.
Speaking of more whacking and scum cleaned off the streets,
Okay.
Dan has not watched the last episode of The Mandalorian.
Oh.
I've not watched I only watched the first 3 episodes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, damn.
I said this to you earlier. I don't know if you're surprised.
Yeah, well,
So you're hitting 600 movies this year, but you haven't jumped on the Mando train.
Very, very sparse on TV this year. I watched Even Stevens.
When you see 600 movies a year, how can you have time for television?
Yeah, I focused on movies mostly.
Even Stevens.
I watched Even Stevens on Disney Plus, and
how was that?
I watched Watchmen.
Looking back.
Incredible.
Shia LaBeouf?
Shia LaBeouf is
Shia LaBeouf.
a miraculous talent. Straight up. But but you can talk about the Mandalorian.
we're not going to do any spoilers. We try to avoid.
So
Yoda's a baby.
Baby Yoda.
is a baby.
He exists,
And cute as hell.
and he's Baby Yoda, and he does force things and passes
And he does
out.
the little hand thing.
Like
Taika Waititi.
He's a New Zealander, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's
Yeah.
a Kiwi.
He's a Kiwi.
He played one of the stormtroopers.
Kiwi.
The ones that are sitting there in the beginning talking outside of the town. He also directed the episode, which is part of why I think.
Yeah,
it
the
was
very
so
last
good.
episode. So it was Taika Waititi, and the other guy was Jason Sudeikis.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Were the two guys, and that was
That shit was funny.
Oh yeah, that was a super cool scene because it was nothing like what you see in Star Wars.
a stormtrooper, yeah, and that's big points. Part of why I love this episode so much. Not only was there a fantastic resolution, and basically what we've been waiting for this whole time, but it actually introduced new things that you have not seen in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah,
I can't say what any of those things are.
I agree, and without spoilers. So I haven't watched. I'm not big enough into Star Wars to follow like the Clone Wars and Rebels. I'm not like up to speed with all of that, but I know it's out there, and I know it's supposed to be considered canon along with the 3 trilogies that are out. And I guess The Mandalorian does a good job at bridging some of those gaps and just maintaining some of those consistencies from things you see in these other shows, like things you wouldn't really notice unless you're like an actual like a diehard fan that like knows all these details and
It's
backgrounds.
played all of the Lego Star Wars games.
Sure. So you know.
All 2 of them.
There's 3.
What's the third one?
Lego Star Wars 3.
Oh shit! I
So
didn't know that
Star Wars
existed.
3, the third one.
The third one. The search for more money.
The search for more money. Of course. And that's the thing too, is these Star Wars movies will never stop coming out.
I think if they're smart, they'll stop with the actual theatrical big releases. I know they're going to do Mandalorian 2.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Well, that's announced. It's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know there's, I'm pretty sure there's an Obi-Wan show in the works as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm into that. I'm into that.
Oh, dude, if Ewan
And-
McGregor comes back for like his time in between episodes 3 and 4,
I'm pretty
I think
sure-
they could. That's what it would be.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they already confirmed him.
Really?
Yeah. And then we're also getting a Darth Maul origin.
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
That's going to be sweet.
I read it's probably not canon. It's probably a completely different story. But after episode 1, I got like this Darth Maul book. It was like an origin story of him. Where I was like 8 years old or whatever when the movie came out. I thought it was just the coolest thing. He's the shit.
Agreed.
You wanted Darth Maul to be your dad.
I did.
Darth Dad?
And you know what? That Halloween, Darth Maul, or
Maul.
my dad dressed up like Darth Maul after that movie came out, contacts
So,
and everything.
Darth
And,
Maul was your dad.
Yeah.
Darth Maul's my dad, episode 27 of the Triplefour podcast.
He needed daddy!
He knew that. I was Darth Maul for Halloween also.
Really?
Probably not as intricately as your dad, but I was Darth Maul. I got the like double red lightsaber for Christmas. So that's why I'm attached to Darth Maul. Shout out Darth Maul. Yeah.
This one's for Darth Maul.
This one goes out to Darth Maul.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers to Darth
I would
Insanius.
have said boys and girls, but Molly was not sitting at the table. She's been
Putting on a
Right now.
hat.
putting on a hat.
Putting on a hat.
Sometimes you have to put a hat on.
Took her about 10 minutes to put on a hat.
And I feel better.
We don't ask questions about the hat.
So we're sitting at the table where earlier this year there was a scene filmed for a film.
Probably the best film.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the most important film of all tonight.
The most important film.
The space. No.
The Space. Darkness on the Edge of Town, starring yours truly, Nick.
Nick Wandersee.
You have to do that every time now. So I hope you're ready for it. And
Beautiful.
Steve and Molly.
We are featured for a short.
Featured players.
I need to get more sweatbands.
Yeah, who doesn't need more
Lost
sweatbands?
the headband and one of the wristbands last night trying to
Did you really?
Trying to climb a tree drunkenly.
Oh.
You lost them.
I lost them. I will buy more. I will.
They're on Amazon.
I
That's
will
where
eat
got.
that purchase because that was my fault.
I'll send you the
How
link.
did you lose them in a tree? Like you're snagging yourself on that many little
I
twigs?
was wearing the blazer too. I straight up climbed a tree out in front of foam and was cawing at people from the tree. And I also had the monster mask. I put the monster mask on. I think I was wearing the sweatband when I was wearing the monster mask, and
Man, the final night at Foam was wild.
it was a good one. It was a really good one. R.I.P. Foam, 2009 to 2019.
Did you cop one of those shirts?
I did cop one of those shirts.
R.I.P.
Little
Foam.
shirt. It's got
Never
the
been
little.
there.
It's got the little soup bowl.
Never will.
It's got a little bowl of alphabet soup, and it says foam, and then it says
Nice.
2009 to 2019.
You know, Nick, it's not about the sweatbands you lose. It's about the friends you make along the way.
About the sweatbands you buy for your friends who bought them originally and then you lost them. So
I've heard that before.
yeah, Confucius said that. But
You know, I was wanting sweatbands for Christmas too.
I'll get a 12-pack.
That'd be great.
Then we can all have sweatbands.
Oh God, that's what I've always dreamed of. Can Dan get one?
We can get sweatbands for Dan. E.
Danny, I guess that is confusing.
They should make that.
So the dog's also named Dan.
yeah, I mean my full name is Daniel.
Her full name is Danny. It's not. We do call her Dan pretty often, which is not her name.
Daniel dog.
The main character in Midsommar was named Danny, wasn't she?
I
Don't remember because you're not a real fan.
okay.
So we got her almost 2 years ago now, and a lot of our friends assumed that we named her Dany after Daenerys Targaryen.
Mm-hmm.
But gladly we did not, because that show's trash.
Think about the people who named their child Daenerys or Dany. After
True. So we
Arya.
actually didn't name our dog Dany. She came with the name, and we decided that she got to keep it because she is her own individual.
Yeah.
And
Let's wrap it up with on the last episode we talked about 2019 highlights. And is there any highlights from 2019 you want to point out? Certainly nothing happened between you two that you should mention of any importance at all. But
well, I asked this lady over here to marry me, if that's what you're talking about.
no,
Who, the dog?
Oh.
If you want to talk about it,
I don't
you
know.
have
There's
to.
so many things we did this year, Dan. We started new jobs. We got a dog. We got the dog last year, but we got a house, got jobs, getting married. I'm buying like power tools and stuff.
Wow.
I'm like,
Totally dead.
Real
Totally.
shit.
knows the
I'm really
line.
excited to start renovating my basement and turn it into like a chill spot. And there will still be room for a drum set eventually, but the whole point
Get it out of my
you
house
getting
now.
out. Well, yeah, no,
Yeah.
because I will ruin it if it stays down there while I
Just throw a
fix the
sheet
basement.
over it.
But I have to
It's
do.
in our
Oh, you
way.
gotta move it.
I'm tearing down the
I swear to God,
ceiling and walls and putting in flooring, and it's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. Gonna have
Yeah.
to completely clear out that space, and we will eventually have a chill little basement spot because I like to linger in the basement. So
Nice.
hopefully within a few months we'll have.
That's where we'll put the degenerates when they come over.
Yeah.
You
So
guys.
What is she doing?
It's the brig.
I don't know. She's a very strange dog, but
This is the place where she has chosen to rest.
She's done a pretty good job about staying in that chair.
She
Like, I'm
really wanted to
surprised.
be on the podcast.
she just
wanted
wants to be as close to Molly as possible.
She loves me.
It's the closer she can get, the better.
She loves me so much, it's annoying.
But yeah, anyway, we're getting married or something like that. We don't know when. We don't know when or where, but I guess you guys can come. I don't know. We'll figure it
Oh,
out.
jeez.
We'll play it by ear.
Is it
It'll
open
be
bar?
open bar.
Open bar.
Okay,
dude.
we're coming.
Obviously,
We're gonna do a podcast
Hey,
during the wedding.
We're serving oversauced, overcooked muscatoli
the only
Overdressed
way there
Oysters?
wouldn't be
in
an
the open bar.
only chance we would not have an open bar is if we eloped and didn't like tell anyone. Those are the
still an
only two options.
Is there gonna be a filing cabinet with spiders and shoes?
No, because they're gonna have oysters out.
Only
Oh, fuck, that's right.
well, you can bring a
Nah,
file
I can go to your
cabinet
parents'
for
house,
my
Nick.
wedding day time capsule.
That'll be your wedding gift. I'm gonna give you guys a filing cabinet to
For
keep
our
on your
front
porch.
I like it.
So nice.
That would be
I
fantastic.
mean, we're asking for money, but that's
You
okay.
just, if you need to sell the filing cabinet, then I'm sure you could get $30 for it.
Not with the spiders
As
in
long
there.
as the spiders stay away
Spiders
from the
add
shoe
value,
drawer.
surprisingly.
Have you ever seen a spider in New Orleans?
Do you know what market price is
Have
on
you-
spiders?
$65.
Exactly.
Which spiders are we talking about?
The filing cabinet spiders.
Gun spiders.
Yeah, that's the next one.
Spider monkeys.
No, those are worth.
Those are probably worth a lot.
Yeah.
Actually,
You smuggle one of those bad boys into the
I
U.S.
think that's
Fuck
illegal.
outta here.
That's why it's worth a lot.
Well, yeah,
You get a spider monkey over here and you're set. 2019, pretty good year.
pretty interesting year.
Pretty interesting. I don't know what else to say, Nick. What do you want to Oh, there was one story that I thought of this week. I thought I might share on the podcast. I'll try to make it quick. In college, I had a friend named Ryan. He was a painter, and he went to a he went to university in Topeka, Kansas. And so one weekend, it was his senior art gallery show at his university in Topeka. So me and some of my friends drove out there to see it and support him and all that. And we had a professor at college who always wore a safety pin in his clothes, like in his sweaters and his jackets and stuff. Now, I thought this was some kind of like punk statement, the old safety pin in your clothes thing. And because he's from Detroit, and he would always talk about the Stooges and stuff, and he was like really into that kind of stuff. And so I always thought it was just like this punk statement. And one day I found a safety pin like on the ground, and to kind of like goof on him a little bit, I started wearing a safety pin to class. And so I would like put it in like my Adidas track jacket or something, which may come into play sooner rather than later. We went to our friend Ryan's art show, and again, Topeka, Kansas. And we were walking around, and somebody pointed out that I was wearing this safety pin. They were like, that's a lot like our professor. He wears a safety pin. I was like, I know. I'm kind of like making fun of him, doing a bit. And, and I was like, but I think it's supposed to mean something. I'm not really sure what it means. I later found out that the safety pin is like this symbol of the resistance or progressive politics, right? So it was like this thing that somebody eventually decided that it meant safety pin. It's like, you're safe with me. I'm an ally to minorities and immigrants and et cetera. And that's cool. That's fine. And so, but anyway, I was at this art show, again, Topeka, Kansas, and I was saying this, like, I don't really know what it means or whatever. This stranger, this old man walks by me at this art show and goes, here's us talking about the safety pin, and he goes, the safety pin is the symbol of the snowflake in modern America. And I was like, oh? And he just like was gone already. Like it was a drive-by.
Just vanished.
Yeah, he was a drive-by insult about something I was claiming to not even know what it meant. It was like, I'd also never heard the term snowflake in real life. Like you see the people say snowflake on the internet, but I've never heard a person say
people say
snowflake.
It's like unique, right?
It's
being one of a kind.
No. It's like
it's a derogatory term.
It's like cuck. It's like calling
Cock?
out calling out a liberal.
Oh,
Like,
It's a
So,
yeah.
and
Like,
you know what's ironic is
okay.
gun-toting good old boys being like, you fucking snowflake.
Because it means you think you're so special and unique or
I
whatever.
get it.
It's a derogatory term.
I get
But
it.
99% of the time I have read or
Wishful
like
thinking.
heard the word snowflake be used in context was, left-leaning people making fun of people that use the word snowflake.
Yeah,
Right?
but again,
that's like 99% of when you see snowflake is someone making fun of it.
yeah.
And rather than it actually being used, unironically.
Guys, I wear a safety
So
pin
you-
on my work vest every day.
Hell
I'm
yeah,
not
you're
even
part of the
joking.
resistance.
Well, I scrub in for
Goddamn
work. I work in
snowflake.
surgery. And so if I'm asked to, if I scrub in on a case, which is 50-50 of the time, I have this, big ass rock on my hand now that I'm
let me see that.
I'm gonna safety pin
It's not that big.
to my shirt because I'm not gonna just
though.
put it in my pocket.
Uh-huh.
So I have
It's
the safety
vintage.
pin that's literally on my shirt all the time at work. And if I'm scrubbed in, it's on my shirt. It's on my. I actually put it on my bra, but if I'm not scrubbed in, there's a safety pin on my pocket.
It's a pretty
Because I'm
niche
probably
thing,
a
though.
fucking snowflake.
Yeah. It's the symbol of the snowflake in modern
Symbol
America,
of the
according to
snowflake.
some guy that walked by me once.
Oh,
Symbol
God,
of the
I didn't even
resistance.
know.
And
He was waiting all day to say that one.
I did want to say, speaking of the
Snowflakes.
resistance
Yeah.
and a safe place and solidarity and all that stuff, R.I.P. to Foam. What a great venue. I'm pretty sure I said it earlier when I was talking about the show, but really going to miss it. I know a lot of people in St. Louis will miss it. It's a big staple for many years, and we wish you the best.
Jason?
Much love.
Is that his name?
Jason
Foam?
from Chalked Up. Shouts out to Chalked Up. Shouts
The guy
out.
who owns the place.
No,
What's his name?
Mr. Foam.
Stutler.
Matt Stutler.
Matt Stutler. Shout
Matt
out, Matt.
Stutler. Shout out Shitstorm. Shout out Sinkhole.
Yeah.
Shout out Squeezy Jibs. Shout out.
Is that real? What is that?
That's that.
I'd like to
Shout
give
out
out
to
a quick
actually-
shout out to Christina Applegate.
Hell yeah. Shout out Pano AM. Shout out
Acid Bag.
Acid Bag guy from the Gramophone. Shout out to Gramophone.
Shout out to snowflakes everywhere.
Shout out to Snowflake. Shout out Danny. Shout out Molly. Shout out Steve. Shout out
Darkness on the Edge of Town coming to theaters 2020.
hell yeah. Shout out I'm gonna go there.
I am
Who
really
goes
excited
there?
for your movie, by the way. That's
Thank you.
that's another thing I wanted to mention. We talked about the movie briefly, but you need to keep us filled in on when you're wrapping up production and when the viewing party is, because
Absolutely.
because that's going to happen. Right?
There is a Facebook page. I don't know if you.
I might have seen that.
Yeah, there's been one post,
Yeah.
and it was the trailer.
Okay,
you
I
the
did see
trailer?
that. It was a couple months ago now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
I
we
saw-
thought we were going to be done soon,
Right,
and
right.
then we're
I
not.
think she
So
was down.
She can get down.
she can do whatever she wants.
Speaking of Facebook pages,
The Triplefour podcast, sponsored by Gibson Guitars
and Dogs.
Now on Facebook. Go check out Triplefour Podcast on Facebook. Follow us.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
All that
Anchor.
Like it. Love it.
Live
Watch it.
Want some more of it?
Live, laugh, love.
Fuck it.
Eat, Pray, Love on Blu-ray.
Fucking Marley and Me on
Bob Marley and Me.
Bob Marley and the Wailers.
The
And
shout out,
me.
the shout out segment that went too far.
shout out OxyClean. Shout out Billy Mays.
Shout out Oxycontin.
Shout out Phil Swift. That's the dude's name from the Flex Seal commercial.
Phil Swift, you're right.
Shout out the boats made of glass.
Shout out spiders that I keep in my cabinet. Shout out
The
Oysters.
Oysters that keep-
spiders in their own cabinet.
keep the spiders away from the cabinets that they shouldn't be in.
The file cabinets on the porch. Can't wait for my wedding gift.
Hell yeah. Shout out Steve and Molly's wedding. Shout out
Socialism. Shout out Bud Select. Shout out Snowflakes. Shout out. We already shouted
Yeah,
them
we already
out
did that,
at
but
some point.
God
Shout
damn
out
it. Fucking
Drapes.
Snowflakes.
Shout out
Rapes. Shout out Joe.
Mom's spaghetti.
Mom's Spaghetti. Shout out.
You know what?
No, fuck
Cannelloni.
Eminem.
Shout out Joe
Shout out
Pesci.
fucking
Hey,
French style cannelloni.
you know what? Shout out to 2019.
Shout
Shout out to 2019. Shout out Don
2019.
Rickles. Shout out Martin Scorsese. Shout out De Niro. Shout out
Don Early. Shout out
Don Early, dude. Love you, bro. Shout out Shasta, dude.
Shasta.
Shasta's
The
a
soda?
dog. No, Shasta's the shop dog.
Oh, I thought you were talking
Future
about the
Skate.
soda.
Shout out Future Skate.
Shout out John Rogan.
No.
No.
And that's a wrap on this episode of the Triplefour podcast. See you next time.
Fuckers.
Bye.
Bye.